Memory loss isn't just about age. It's about the pills we trust. Have you ever looked at someone you love, your spouse, your parents, or even yourself, and quietly wondered, why is my memory slipping lately? Why did I walk into this room and forget why I came? Is this just aging, or could it be something else? Take a moment. What if the real cause isn't age at all? What if it's hiding in the little pill you take every day, believing it's keeping you healthy? A pill for sleep, a pill for back pain, a pill to control your blood pressure. Just one small tablet that could silently drain your memory day by day. Across America, millions of older adults are taking common medications, completely unaware that some of these pills may increase their risk of memory loss by up to 80%. And here's the most alarming part: these dangerous side effects, they're often not listed on the label. They show up quietly through subtle confusion, odd behavior, mood changes, and we tell ourselves, it must be old age. In this video, we're going to uncover everyday medications that may be silently damaging your memory, early warning signs that something isn't right, and most importantly, how to protect your mind and those you love before it's too late, because living a long life is a gift. But living with clarity, dignity, and yourself intact, that's the real treasure. So now let's begin with the first medication you need to know about. 1. Opioid painkillers. When pain fades. But so does memory. Sheila was 72 when she had knee replacement surgery. Her doctor prescribed a strong painkiller, oxycodone. At first, everything seemed fine. She walked more easily. Her pain was manageable. She was healing. But then strange things began to happen. She asked her husband, "Why is the bed floating?" One day, she stood at her front door for nearly an hour, unable to remember how to open it. This was the same house she had lived in for over 40 years. Her eyes seemed distant. She spoke less. She couldn't focus on conversations. And 3 years later, Sheila was diagnosed with early cognitive decline. So what was happening in her brain? Medications like oxycodone, hydrocodone, and morphine don't just ease pain, they also slow down and gradually numb the neural pathways responsible for memory and emotional balance. Scientific studies reveal long-term opioid use can shrink the brain's white matter, crucial for cognitive function. It increases the risk of dementia by up to 40%. And the brain slowly turns off certain functions to adapt to the medication. Common mistake. Believing pain relief is worth any cost, even the mental clarity. Staying on the medication without regular check-ins with your doctor. The real lesson: pain can be managed in many ways: gentle physical therapy, acupuncture, even restorative yoga. But memory? Once it's lost, it's incredibly hard to bring back. Ask your doctor, is there a way to manage my pain without sacrificing my brain? Anti-anxiety and sleep aid medications, benzodiazepines. The false sleep that comes at a real cost. Walter was 69 when his world changed. His wife passed away, and with her, so did his peace of mind. He couldn't sleep. Most nights he barely closed his eyes for an hour. He was exhausted during the day and restless at night. So his doctor prescribed lorazepam, a mild sedative from a group of drugs called benzodiazepines, just enough to help him sleep. And at first, it worked. Walter slept a few solid hours for the first time in weeks, but not long after, his daughter started noticing odd things. Walter was digging through the trash looking for a yogurt lid. He put metal spoons in the refrigerator. One night he left his car running in the driveway. All night, and didn't remember doing it. 6. Months later, doctors diagnosed him with moderate cognitive impairment. What was happening inside his brain? Medications like Valium, Xanax, lorazepam, clonazepam, and temazepam work by slowing down brain activity, helping people feel calm and sleepy, but they don't stop there. They also suppress key areas of the brain that handle memory, emotional regulation, and learning. Research shows benzodiazepines can increase the risk of dementia by 32% to 80%, depending on dose and duration. Long-term use causes shrinkage of brain cells. They can lead to confusion, disorientation, and even hallucinations, especially in older adults. Common mistakes. Believing that any kind of sleep is better than none, when in reality, this is artificial sleep that doesn't restore the brain. Taking these medications long-term without re-evaluating side effects, trying to quit suddenly, which can worsen memory issues. The real lesson: grief-related insomnia is real. But numbing the brain isn't healing. There are better, safer long-term options. Mindfulness-cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, gentle music, natural light. And if you've been on benzodiazepines for more than 3 months, talk to your doctor about a slow, supervised taper. Real sleep is when the brain repairs itself, not disconnects from who you are. Old generation allergy pills, small relief, heavy cost. Franklin was 71. A proud, reliable man. Every Sunday morning, for over 30 years, he drove himself to church without fail. But that spring, his allergies flared up badly. The sneezing, the itchy eyes, the restless nights. It was too much. So he did what many do. He picked up an over-the-counter pill, Benadryl. It helped. He could breathe and even sleep a little better. But soon something changed. His wife noticed he began repeating the same questions, again and again. He claimed he'd put his wallet in the refrigerator but couldn't recall doing it. One morning, he got in the car, drove off, and forgot how to get home. Later, he was diagnosed with early-stage dementia. So how did a simple allergy pill lead to something so serious? Medications like Benadryl, diphenhydramine, chlortrimeton, and Unisom belong to the first-generation antihistamines. They block histamine to relieve allergy symptoms, but they also block acetylcholine, a vital chemical your brain uses for memory, learning, and focus. As we age, our natural acetylcholine levels drop. When you take medications that suppress it even more, your brain struggles to stay connected. Research shows prolonged use of first-gen antihistamines increases dementia risk by up to 54%. Symptoms often mimic normal aging and are overlooked for years. Common mistakes: assuming over-the-counter means safe for long-term use. Using allergy meds like Benadryl as sleep aids every night. Not checking the label. Many sleep supplements secretly contain diphenhydramine. The real lesson: recheck every allergy and sleep product you're using. Look for newer, second-generation antihistamines that don't cross the blood-brain barrier, like Claritin, loratadine, or Allegra, fexofenadine. And for sleep, build better bedtime habits. No screens late at night. Keep your room dim and cool. Stick to a calming evening routine. A single pill might help you sleep tonight, but if it steals your memories tomorrow, is it really worth it? 4. Prescription. Sleep medications. When artificial rest comes at the cost of clarity. Judith was 69. All she wanted was one good night's sleep. For years, she battled chronic insomnia. Her body ached. Her mind raced. She was exhausted, physically, mentally, spiritually. Her doctor prescribed her zolpidem, better known as Ambien, and at first it felt like a miracle. She finally slept 6 straight hours. No tossing, no turning, just rest. But soon, things began to shift. Judith started wandering the house at 3 a.m. wide awake, but with no memory of it. One day, she used a fork to comb her hair. Another time, she called her grandson by the wrong name. At 71, she was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. So, what happened? Medications like zolpidem, Ambien, esopiclone, Lunesta, and temazepam, Restoril, work by slowing down brain activity, helping people fall asleep faster. But here's the catch. The sleep these drugs induce isn't natural sleep. They disrupt something called slow-wave sleep, a deep, vital stage of sleep when your brain stores long-term memories, clears out waste and toxins, repairs and regenerates neurons. According to a 2019 BMJ study, seniors who took sleeping pills more than 3 times a week had a significantly higher risk of memory loss and dementia. In some cases, even after stopping the medication, the damage remained. Common mistakes. Thinking any sleep is better than no sleep. Ignoring the root cause of insomnia, like stress, poor sleep hygiene, or diet, taking these pills without a plan to taper off safely. The real lesson, restful sleep, doesn't come from a bottle. It comes from rhythm and care. Keep a consistent bedtime, limit blue light before bed. Try gentle reading, meditation, or calming music. And if sleep meds are necessary, make sure you have a clear timeline. Monitor your mental clarity regularly. Work closely with your doctor to reduce and eventually stop. One night of deep sleep shouldn't cost you a lifetime of clarity. Give your brain the rest it deserves, the natural kind it was built for. Statins, lowering cholesterol, but starving your brain. Hank was 72. Disciplined, thoughtful, and proud of his health. He went for annual checkups, ate mindfully, exercised regularly. So when his doctor told him his cholesterol was a little high, he didn't panic. "That's fine," he said. "I'll just take the medication." He started on atorvastatin, commonly known as Lipitor. Within months, his cholesterol dropped to ideal levels. But then, strange moments crept in. He called his wife, his partner of over 50 years, by the wrong name. He poured orange juice onto the bed, then asked, "Why is the staircase melting?" Before the year was over, Hank was diagnosed with early-stage dementia. How could this happen? Statins like Lipitor, atorvastatin, Crestor, rosuvastatin, Zocor, simvastatin, and Pravachol, pravastatin, are often prescribed to lower LDL, bad cholesterol, prevent strokes and heart disease. They've helped millions. But here's the part most people never hear. Cholesterol isn't just something to eliminate. It's essential to your brain. It's the raw material your brain uses to build cell membranes, transmit electrical signals, protect and insulate neurons. When you drop cholesterol too low, the brain can't function properly. To make matters worse, statins reduce coenzyme Q10, CoQ10, a compound critical for brain cells to generate energy. A 2020 study found high-dose, long-term statin use raised the risk of memory decline by up to 58%. Low CoQ10 levels were linked to fatigue, confusion, and brain fog. Common mistakes: believing the lower the better when it comes to cholesterol without understanding safe limits, failing to supplement with CoQ10 while on statins, not reassessing memory and focus after months of use. The real lesson: ask your doctor. What's the safest cholesterol range for someone my age? Can I supplement with CoQ10 to support brain health? And if you've been feeling unusually tired, forgetful, or mentally foggy, review your statin use. A healthy heart is essential, but it shouldn't come at the cost of your mind, because what good is a strong heartbeat if your memories begin to fade? Stomach acid medications, PPIs. Calming acid, but silently burning. Your memory, Mabel was 74, a gentle, thoughtful woman, always the caretaker of her family. She took pride in every meal she cooked, every detail she managed with love. But lately, she started saying something odd at the dinner table. Everything tastes like metal, like I'm chewing on rust. Her daughter thought she was just being picky. But then came the mix-ups. She poured dish soap into a pot of soup, mistook the bathroom sink for the toilet, and, slowly, her confidence began to crumble. When the family finally took her to a memory specialist, they learned the truth. Mabel had been taking omeprazole Prilosec every day for the past 3 years for acid reflux. Her diagnosis? Early-stage dementia. How could a simple stomach pill lead to that? Medications like omeprazole, Prilosec, esomeprazole, Nexium, pantoprazole, Protonix, lansoprazole, Prevacid, are part of a class called PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. They're used to treat acid reflux, GERD, stomach ulcers, chronic heartburn. But here's what many don't realize: these drugs reduce your stomach acid so much that they also reduce your ability to absorb vitamin B12, a nutrient critical for brain function. Without enough B12, seniors may experience memory loss, dizziness, and fatigue, difficulty with balance and coordination. On top of that, PPIs may disrupt the gut microbiome, and research shows that gut health and brain health are deeply connected. A 2016 study found long-term PPI users had a 44% increased risk of dementia. Many had no idea their memory issues were linked to a stomach pill, common mistakes. Taking PPIs for months or years without monitoring B12 levels, assuming that acid reflux. Pills don't affect the brain, not addressing diet or lifestyle changes that could solve the issue naturally. The real lesson: if you've been on PPIs for more than 8 weeks, ask your doctor, should I get my B12 levels checked? Are there non-drug ways I can manage my reflux? Start with these changes. Eat on a regular schedule. Avoid spicy, fried, and late-night meals. Sleep with your head slightly elevated. Try sleeping on your left side to reduce acid flow. One pill might soothe your stomach, but if it dulls your memory, even your favorite meals might become a blur. Your memory deserves to be nourished, and that starts with caring for your gut, naturally and wisely. 7 antipsychotic medications. The quiet thief of awake minds, Leonard, was 71, a retired teacher with a warm heart and a love for books. He enjoyed chatting with friends at the local senior center and reading under his favorite window light. But after a few restless nights and spells of agitation, his doctor prescribed quetiapine, commonly known as Seroquel, just to help him calm down and sleep better, the doctor said, and at first it did. Leonard became quieter, too quiet. Soon his family started noticing things. He stared blankly for long periods. One morning, he poured maple syrup into a bowl of miso soup. Another day, he tried unlocking the microwave with his house keys, and once he stood in front of a mirror and whispered, "Who is that man looking at me?" Just months later, Leonard was diagnosed with early-onset dementia. So what went wrong? Medications like quetiapine, Seroquel, risperidone, Risperdal, olanzapine, Zyprexa, haloperidol, Haldol, are antipsychotics. They're sometimes prescribed to older adults experiencing agitation, insomnia, or behavioral changes. But here's the problem. They suppress dopamine, a key brain chemical responsible for alertness, motivation, emotional stability, learning and decision-making. Recent studies, 2023, show long-term use can shrink areas of the brain involved in memory and judgment. They significantly increase confusion, emotional blunting, and cognitive decline. And in some cases, they raise the risk of death in seniors when used improperly. Common mistakes. Using antipsychotics as a shortcut to quiet down difficult behaviors, prescribing them without fully exploring the root cause, not monitoring dose, duration, or side effects closely. The real lesson: before turning to antipsychotics, explore supportive, human-centered care. Gentle conversations, familiar music group activities that spark joy, better lighting, calming spaces, and predictable routines. And if medication is truly necessary, ask your doctor, how will this affect my brain long term? Is there a plan to reduce or stop the medication if symptoms improve? A calm mind isn't just about silence, it's about awareness, dignity, and connection. Our loved ones don't need to be sedated. They need to be seen, heard, and supported, fully and with care. Tricyclic antidepressants, TCAs. An old path that leads memory into darkness. Delia was 75, independent. Witty, full of life, even in retirement, she stayed sharp, reading every night, cooking every meal, by heart. But about a year ago, Delia began struggling with chronic nerve pain in her neck and shoulders. Her doctor prescribed amitriptyline, a tricyclic antidepressant known to help with sleep and pain relief. At first, it helped. The pain eased. She slept more soundly, but then things started slipping. One day, she poured milk into the washing machine. She asked her neighbor, "Is your ceiling fan whispering secrets about me?" And once, she dialed a friend who had passed away over 10 years ago. Her family thought these were just harmless side effects until she was diagnosed with moderate dementia. So what happened? Medications like amitriptyline, nortriptyline, imipramine deoxypyrenate, older generation antidepressants once widely used for depression, anxiety, insomnia, and chronic pain. But the issue lies in how they affect the brain. TCAs block acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter responsible for memory, retention, focus, and learning, spatial awareness and orientation, and for seniors whose acetylcholine levels are already lower, this can accelerate mental decline quickly. Studies have shown long-term TCA use significantly increases the risk of memory loss. The danger grows even higher when TCAs are combined with other brain-affecting medications. Common mistakes. Continuing to prescribe TCAs when safer, newer antidepressants, like SSRIs, are available, not monitoring mental clarity over time, using medication in place of emotional or community support. The real lesson: it's okay to ask your doctor, is there a safer alternative that protects my memory? Do I really need this medication long term? And be alert for signs like repeating questions, confusing names of loved ones, sudden emotional swings. In many cases, healing the mind and heart requires more than pills. Talk therapy, music and art, gentle movement, and meaningful connection. Sometimes the sleep that feels like healing might quietly steal your most precious memories. Your mind is your story. Protect it with everything you've got. Nighttime urinary medications. I slept better but lost myself. You've probably heard of those miracle pills that help. Older adults sleep through the night by stopping frequent trips to the bathroom. They promise comfort, rest, but sometimes the cost is far greater than we imagine. Let me tell you about Helen. She's 72, and for the longest time, she believed her memory was perfectly fine. She remembered every grandchild's birthday, every weekend. She baked her famous cinnamon toast, just like her mother used to, until one day, she forgot the recipe. It started with waking up 3, sometimes 4 times a night to use the bathroom. She was tired, irritable, worn out, so her doctor gave her oxybutynin, a bladder medication, to help her sleep through the night. And it worked. She finally got some rest. But then came the fog. One morning, she dropped her toothbrush into a pot of soup. Another day, she called her granddaughter by the name of a neighbor. Sometimes she'd walk into a room and forget why she was there. But the scariest moment? She looked into the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Her family thought she was just getting forgetful. But after a deep neurological evaluation, her doctor said, "Helen, what you're experiencing is cognitive decline, and the medication you've been taking may be part of the reason why." Helen was stunned. How could one tiny pill erase such big pieces of my life? Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Medications like oxybutynin, tolterodine, solifenacin, Vesicare, dicyclomine, Bentyl belong to a class of drugs called anticholinergics. They calm overactive bladders by blocking signals from the brain to the bladder. But here's the problem. Those same signals rely on acetylcholine, the very chemical that helps you. Remember names, follow a conversation, distinguish between a dream and real life. In older adults, acetylcholine is already in short supply, and when these drugs block it even more, the brain disconnects. Helen realized then it wasn't just forgetfulness. It wasn't that she was just getting old. Her brain was being dulled day by day by the very pill she trusted. Final thought, protecting your memory is protecting yourself. If you've made it with us to the end of this journey, you've likely realized something important. Not every pill is harmless, and sometimes it's the small, familiar ones that slowly dim the brightest light in our minds. We're not telling you to stop taking medications cold turkey. We deeply respect the role of modern medicine, but you deserve to know what goes into your body, and more importantly, how it affects your brain. Memory isn't just about recalling facts or names. It's about the sound of your child's first laugh, the song that played on your wedding day, the last words a loved one whispered before saying goodbye. Losing your memory isn't just about forgetfulness. It's about losing the deepest parts of who you are. So today, we invite you to do one thing. Talk to your doctor. Review your medications, especially if you've noticed changes in focus, sleep, or mood. Because knowledge is the most powerful medicine of all. No side effects, only hope, when shared at the right time with the right people. If you found this video helpful, please hit like to help spread this message. Share your story in the comments below, or ask us any questions, and most of all, hit subscribe so you don't miss future videos on senior health, nutrition, and memory protection. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.